The optimist is right. The pessimist is right.
Mm.
The one differs from the other as the light from the dark. Yet both are right.
It's quite a riddle to kick things off with, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
That's one of the most famous opening lines in this whole field of literature. It comes from a book written, way back in 1897?
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, but it poses this central kind of nagging question that I think we all wrestle with, usually at 3 in the morning.
Right.
How can two completely opposing realities be true at the same time? I mean, how can the world be a terrible, hostile place for one person and a place of opportunity and joy for their neighbor?
Yeah.
Even if they live on the same street, work the same job, deal with the same traffic.
It really is the question. And the answer, at least according to the material we're looking at today, it all comes down to one thing.
Okay.
The point of view. But we have to be really, really careful here. Because when we say point of view in just a casual conversation, we usually just mean an opinion.
Right, like a subjective preference.
Yeah.
A matter of taste.
Exactly. I prefer blue, you prefer red, or I like this politician, you like that one. But the author we're exploring today argues that a point of view is so much more than that.
How so?
It's not just a filter, it's a generator. It's the determining factor of a life. It's a mechanical setting. It literally determines power or impotence, peace or pain.
So it's the architect.
It is the architect that builds the reality you actually experience.
Okay, let's unpack this, because today we're doing a deep exploration of In Tune with the Infinite by Ralph Waldo Trine.
Yeah.
We're looking specifically at the Prelude.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for anyone who hasn't dusted off a book from the 19th century lately, this is a classic. It was a massive bestseller. People like Henry Ford read it.
Yeah, it was hugely influential.
And what we're going to try to do today is strip away some of that vintage language, maybe even some of the woo, and really look at the practical mechanics of how our inner states create our outer reality.
It's fascinating because Trine was writing over 100 years ago, but he predicted so much of what we now understand about cognitive psychology, about systems theory, even the neuroscience of habits.
Right.
He uses, slightly flowery language sometimes, but he's really talking about the mechanics of the mind.
So if you've ever felt like you're just fighting against life, like you're swimming upstream and getting absolutely nowhere, this discussion is probably for you. We're going to look at what it actually means to be in tune and maybe how to stop being so out of tune.
Mm-hmm.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one. So let's get into the core message. Trine starts by talking about a golden thread. That sounds a little mysterious. What's he getting at?
Well, he's basically looking for a unifying theory of everything.
Ambitious.
Very. He says there's a golden thread that runs through every great religion, every great philosophy, and the lives of people who have true, lasting power. And his argument is that this thread isn't magic.
Okay.
It isn't just luck. It's not that some people are just born lucky. He says it is law.
Law, as in, like gravity.
Precisely. If you drop a pen, it falls. That is a law. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person.
The pen falls.
The pen falls. Trine is arguing that our inner life works with that same level of predictability. And he distinguishes between two realms to explain this: the seen and the unseen.
Okay, you've got to define those for us, because unseen starts to sound like ghost stories.
It does, but think of it functionally. The unseen is the realm of cause.
The cause.
Right. This is your internal state, your thoughts, your attitudes, that silent narrative running in your head, the state of your nervous system.
Had it.
The seen is the realm of effect. That's your physical health, your bank account, your relationships, the actual circumstances of your day.
So the unseen is the blueprint, and the seen is the building.
That is a perfect analogy. And here's the key insight, and frankly, it's where most of us, myself included, get it wrong all the time.
Okay.
Most people try to change the effect without ever changing the cause.
We try to fix the building without ever looking at the blueprints.
Yes. Or, to use another image he gives, it's like trying to move a shadow on the wall by scrubbing the wall.
Huh, right.
You can scrub until your hands bleed, but you can't move the shadow by touching the wall. You have to move the object that's casting the shadow.
And that object is the unseen.
That's the unseen. If you want to change the outer world, the effect, you have to go to the realm of cause, which is within. Trine is very, very specific about this. He says, thoughts are forces.
Thoughts are forces.
They aren't just smoke. They aren't just these ephemeral nothings floating around. They are the actual tools we use to build our reality. We are all, right now, building our own worlds from within.
I want to push on that a little bit. Thoughts are forces. It sounds empowering for sure, but is it literally true? Or is he just speaking metaphorically?
I think it's both. Metaphorically, absolutely. Your idea becomes a plan, which becomes a house.
True.
But biologically, it's literally true. A thought is an electrochemical event in your brain. It releases neurotransmitters. If you think a stressful thought, your body releases cortisol.
And you feel that.
You feel it instantly. That cortisol changes your blood pressure, your digestion, your immune system. So the unseen thought becomes a seen, physical change in your body's tissues. Trine didn't have the fMRI scans we have today, but he absolutely understood the causality.
That makes a ton of sense. And I love that idea that we're architects. It gives you a lot of agency. It means you're not just a victim of your circumstances.
Right.
But let's get to the title of the book, In Tune with the Infinite. I mean, it sounds a bit grand, maybe a little abstract.
A little bit, yeah.
Can we get a plain English, modern definition of what it actually means to be in tune?
Absolutely. If we strip away the poetry, being in tune just means being aligned, calm, coherent, and responsive.
Coherent is a good word there.
It is.
Yeah.
I think the best analogy for the modern mind is a radio signal.
Okay.
When a radio is in tune, the signal is crystal clear. The music is audible. The information flows without any static. You have a very high signal-to-noise ratio.
You hear exactly what's being broadcast. And when you're out of tune,
Static. Just white noise. You might hear a voice, but it's garbled, it's irritating. You have to strain to understand what's even being said.
so in a human life, being in tune is like that clear signal.
Yes. In modern psychology, we might even connect this to what they call flow states.
Well,
You know that feeling when you're working on something and everything just clicks? You're not frantic, you're not rushing, you're not worrying about what you're going to have for dinner, you're just operating. The ancient Stoics had a word for it, hexthys, which means like a stable character or a steady state. It's not about frantic striving or forcing things to happen. It's about steady power.
Okay, so if that's in tune, what does out of tune look like? Because I have a feeling I know this state intimately.
We all do. Being out of tune is characterized by being scattered, reactive,
Yeah.
noisy, and contradictory.
Contradictory. What do you mean by that?
That's a huge one. It's when one part of you wants to do something and another part of you is screaming, I can't. It's pure internal friction.
Right.
It's like you're driving your car with the parking brake on. The engine is revving, you're burning gas, the car is shaking, there's smoke coming from the wheels, but you're not going anywhere.
Because the system is fighting itself.
The system is fighting itself.
That sounds absolutely exhausting.
It is. It's biologically expensive. And Trine actually talks about the physical toll of this. When you are out of tune, when you are full of fear, worry, resentment, you are literally creating friction in your own system. He links this directly to disease, and he hyphenates it. Disease, a lack of ease.
So the mental static, the noise, it eventually becomes physical breakdown.
Exactly. The unseen cause creates the seen effect. If the cause is noisy and chaotic, the effect is going to be exhaustion and, well, a lack of ease in the body. You just can't have a chaotic blueprint and build a stable house.
This brings us to a really interesting distinction he makes, and I think it's one that's so relevant right now. The difference between harmony and force.
Oh, this is critical. This is the pivot point of the whole philosophy, I think.
Because we live in a world that is obsessed with force, right? We talk about crushing our goals,
Grinding it out.
grinding it out, forcing a breakthrough. We treat life like it's a wrestling match we have to win. We try to force our kids to listen, force our partners to agree with us, force a project to be finished on time.
We do. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. If you're not tired, you're not trying hard enough.
Right.
But Trine's argument is that force is actually a sign of weakness.
How so? I mean, usually we think of force as strength.
Mm-hmm.
The strong person forces the door open.
Well, think about it mechanically. Force implies resistance. If you have to force a door open, it means the door is locked or it's jammed.
Okay.
If you're using force, it means you're swimming upstream, you're fighting the current. If everything was working properly, you wouldn't need force, the door would just open.
And harmony. What's the alternative?
Harmony is swimming with the current. Trine calls this the divine sequence. When you're in tune, you are aligned with the way reality actually works. You're working with the laws of the universe, not fighting against them.
It reminds me of that idea in martial arts, like Aikido, where you use the opponent's energy against them rather than, trying to stop a punch with your face.
That's a perfect parallel. True power is quiet. It attracts outcomes rather than chasing them down. When you're in harmony, you don't have to scream to be heard. You don't have to
Right.
manipulate to get results. Things just unfold because you've removed the friction.
You've taken the parking brake off.
You've taken the parking brake off.
I want to make this super practical. We've talked about the theory unseen versus seen, harmony versus force, and it sounds great on paper.
Hmm.
But let's look at what this actually looks like on a Tuesday afternoon when everything is going wrong. Let's take 3 specific examples: work, relationships, and habits.
Great. Let's start with work.
Okay, scenario. You've got a high-pressure deadline. It is due at 5 o'clock. It is currently 2 o'clock, and you are behind. The pressure is on. What does out of tune look like here?
Out of tune is frantic. It's pure panic mode. You're operating from a place of scarcity and fear. You're multitasking like crazy, checking email every 30 seconds while trying to write a report because you're afraid you're going to miss something else.
Right.
Your cortisol is spiked. You're shallow breathing. And you start making stupid mistakes because your brain is just in threat detection mode. You're reactive. Every ping on your phone feels like a physical attack.
I feel attacked just hearing you describe that. That is the standard operating procedure for most modern offices.
Isn't it? It's miserable. And the quality of the work suffers tremendously because you're just trying to survive the moment. You're forcing the output.
Okay, so what's the in-tune version of that same deadline? The deadline hasn't moved. It's still 2 o'clock.
The in-tune approach relies on focused attention, on flow. You align your skill with the challenge, but, and here is the key, you prioritize the unseen first.
Meaning what?
Meaning you take 30 seconds, literally just 30 seconds, to regulate your own nervous system. You acknowledge the stress and you choose to settle it. You get clear.
Okay.
You turn off the distractions. You focus on one thing. You trust that you have the capacity to handle this task. You just say, I'm here doing this right now. And the result is higher quality work with way less fatigue. You're moving with the time, not fighting against it.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about steadying the architect before you start building. Even if you're in a rush, you don't start running with untied shoelaces.
Yeah.
You stop, you tie them, then you run.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move to example 2. Relationships. Scenario. A disagreement with a partner or a colleague, tensions are high. Maybe they said something that really ticked you off.
Okay, so out of tune here is classic projection. You are blaming the other person for your own internal irritation. You're defensive, you're not listening to understand. You're listening to find a gap in their argument so you can win. You're preparing your rebuttal while they're still talking.
We've all been there. The argument stops being about the dishes and starts being about, you always do this or you never listen.
Exactly. That's the static talking. That's your radio picking up interference from, 10 other stations. The noise inside you, your insecurity, your need to be right, your exhaustion is creating the conflict outside.
So what does in tune look like in that same argument?
In tune looks very different. You recognize that golden thread of connection. You realize that your internal state is your responsibility, not theirs. So you regulate yourself first. And because you are calm, you de-escalate the entire room.
Calm is contagious.
It absolutely is. But so is panic. You get to choose which frequency you're broadcasting on. When you're in tune, you can actually listen. You can hear what they're truly saying, not just what you're afraid they're saying. You build a bridge instead of a wall.
You stop trying to force them to agree with you.
Right, and you start looking for the harmony in the situation.
All right, example 3, habits. This is a huge one, especially around January, but really any time of year when people are trying to reinvent themselves.
Yeah, and Trine connects beautifully to modern habit research here, specifically this idea of identity-based habits that people like James Clear talk so much about.
Okay, so what is the out-of-tune way to change a habit? Let's say starting to exercise.
Out of tune is relying on pure willpower to force a behavior that contradicts your own self-image. It's saying, I am a lazy person, I hate running, but I'm going to force myself to run 5 miles today because I hate my body.
You're literally fighting your own identity. You're trying to move the shadow without moving the object.
You got it. You're trying to change the effect, which is the running, without changing the cause, which is the belief that you are lazy. It is completely unsustainable. You might do it for a week, maybe 2.
And then you crash.
The rubber band will always snap back. You'll eventually revert to your baseline identity.
And in tune, how does that work?
In tune changes the cause first. You
Yeah.
adopt the identity. You say, I am an athlete, or I am the kind of person who moves my body because it feels good and I respect myself.
Wow.
When you shift that internal point of view, the action flows naturally from it. You run because that is what athletes do. It isn't a struggle anymore. It's an expression of who you are.
Life follows thought.
That's the whole principle.
That is the architect mindset again, isn't it? You change the blueprint and the building follows.
Precisely.
So we have the theory, we have these examples, but let's be real. We're human. We fall off the wagon. I can be totally in tune at 8 in the morning, meditated, had my coffee, feeling great, and be a complete disaster, totally out of tune by 8:30 just because I hit traffic.
Of course. It happens to everyone. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to shorten the recovery time. The key is to have a reset mechanism.
A reset button.
Yeah. And so we've put together a practical 4-step tool based on these principles. We're calling it the tuning fork reset.
I like that. Like tuning a guitar, if a string sounds screechy, you don't throw the guitar in the fireplace. You just tune it.
Exactly. When a piano's out of tune, you don't smash it with a hammer. You just retune it. So here are the steps.
Okay, step first.
Step first. Notice the dominant inner noise.
Hmm.
You have to stop. Just pause for a second. What is the static? Is it a feeling of rush? Is it fear? Is it resentment? Self-attack? Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it yet. Just name the noise. Okay, I'm feeling frantic right now, or I am feeling defensive.
So awareness is the first step. You can't tune a string you can't hear. Okay, step second.
Step second. Choose one stabilizing principle. Pick a note you want to tune yourself to. Trine talks about the infinite spirit, but you can use words that resonate with you, like calm, or honesty, courage, kindness, patience. Pick one single word and just hold that word in your mind.
So I'm sitting in that traffic jam. I'm angry. I notice the anger. And then I pick patience.
Right. You just sound that note in your mind. You let it vibrate for a moment.
Okay, step third.
Step third. Choose one small outward action that matches it. This is crucial. You have to manifest the unseen principle in a seen action immediately. You have to prove to your body that you're back in charge.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. If your word is order, you just tidy one corner of your desk. If your word is kindness, you send a quick thank you text to a friend. If your word is calm, you take one slow, deliberate breath.
Or in the traffic jam, with the word patience, maybe you actually let someone merge in front of you.
Exactly. You are proving to yourself with evidence that you can align with that principle.
I love that. It grounds the whole idea in reality, stops it from just being a thought, and makes it a real action. Okay, and step fourth?
Step fourth. Remove one contradiction that breaks your tune. Stop doing the one thing that's creating the static. If the news on the radio is making you angry, turn it off. If endlessly scrolling social media is making you anxious, put down the phone. If the gossip at the coffee machine is making you feel gross, walk away. You eliminate the friction.
You can't be in tune if you're willingly listening to static.
You just can't.
It's simple, but it's really powerful. Notice the noise, choose the note, take an action, remove the static, the tuning fork reset. I can see using that 10 times a day.
And you should. It takes 30 seconds, but it can change the entire trajectory of the next hour.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to troubleshoot this. Because this all sounds logical, but logic doesn't always win the day. Where do people get stuck? What are the common mistakes?
Yeah, there are a few common ones. Let's look at maybe 5 mistakes people make when they try to apply this.
Okay, mistake first.
Mistake first is focusing on the effect. We obsess over the number in the bank account, or the number on the scale, or the difficult boss. We keep trying to polish the mirror to change our face.
Right.
And the fix is, you have to stop. Go internal. Change the cause. The outer world is just the printout. The inner world is the software. If there's a typo on the page, you don't use whiteout on your computer screen, you go into the code.
Okay, that's a big one. Mistake second.
Impatience. This is huge. Harmony is agriculture, not manufacturing.
Yeah. I like that distinction. Unpack that for me.
Well, manufacturing is, I pull a lever and a widget comes out instantly. Agriculture is, I plant a seed, I water it, I wait. You don't plant a seed and then dig it up every hour to see if it's growing. That would kill the seed. You have to trust the law. You do the work in the unseen, and you trust that the seen will catch up in its own time.
Right. Mistake third.
Letting impressions rule the mind. This is a very stoic idea. We get a nasty email and we immediately react. We let that external impression hijack our entire internal state.
Someone else gets the keys to our emotional state.
They do. Someone cuts us off in traffic and suddenly we are angry. We just gave them our peace. The fix is to use that stoic approach. When a strong impression hits, fear, anger, excitement, just pause. Say to yourself, this is just an impression, not the reality itself. Create a gap between the stimulus and your response. In that gap, you can choose to stay in tune.
That's powerful. Mistake fourth.
Thinking it's magic. People read titles like In Tune with the Infinite, and they think it's about wishing for things. I'll just sit on my couch and visualize a Ferrari, and it'll appear in my driveway.
Yeah, the magical thinking trap.
It's not magic, it's mechanics. It's cause and effect, just like gravity or aerodynamics. If you build a plane according to the laws of aerodynamics, it flies. If you align your mind correctly, your life works. It is a system. It requires action, but it's aligned action.
Okay, and finally, mistake fifth.
Periodic practice versus a constant attitude. You can't be in tune for 10 minutes of meditation in the morning and then be completely out of tune for the rest of the day and expect things to change.
Right. You can't eat one salad for lunch and then eat garbage for the rest of the week and expect to be healthy.
It's the exact same principle. Trine says it has to become a baseline state, a steady state of being. It's about how you walk through the grocery store, how you drive in traffic, how you talk to your kids. It has to become consistent. It's a lifestyle, not a hobby.
This has been a really rich discussion. I feel like we've managed to unpack a lot here. Let's try to summarize the key takeaways from this whole exploration into the Prelude.
Sure. I think if we boil it all down.
Being in tune is the foundation for peace and power.
Mm-hmm.
We build our world from the inside out.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Thoughts are forces that shape our reality.
Right.
Force creates resistance. Harmony creates flow.
Mm,
Aligning with universal laws removes friction.
it does.
Small aligned actions can reset our internal state.
That's the reset.
And the goal is a life of steady, responsive power.
I like that. Steady and responsive.
Inner steady, outer ready. I like that. So, that's the Prelude. We've tuned the instrument, but we are just getting started with Trine.
That's right. The Prelude is really just the warm-up act. Next time, we're going to look at what Trine calls the supreme fact of the universe.
Sounds important.
It is. We're going to look at exactly what it is we're trying to tune into. It's a massive concept that really anchors everything else we've talked about today.
I can't wait for that one. Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.